What up, everybody? What up, everybody? What up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of AC Reviews the World. I'm your host, AC the Engineer, and we are at episode 43. Let's give it a round of applause. Yep. We are at episode 43. We making our way through it. You know, we out here I try to be consistent and do 3 days a week: Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. Today is Friday, September 19th. It's a little later than usual. I usually like to start it in the morning, 6 a.m. before work, but I just wasn't feeling this morning, so I had to. But we don't miss a day. We try not to miss a day. So here we are at 5 o'clock on Friday. It's the end of the work week for majority of most people, like myself. But if you still got to go to work, hey, do what you got to do and make that money. Make that money. But yes. We got a couple of things to go over today. The first part of the show, we got to do updates. We got a lot of updates. Just updating on just some of the crimes that we are following. The stuff in the Tesla. David's called the singer David. We got updates on that. Charlie Kirk stuff. More stuff about Charlie Kirk. Just updates from when we left off. And we also got to do the can't forget about Trey Reed. So got updates about that and an autopsy results and all that good old things. But no matter what, we got to always review the world together. Go ahead and make sure you always do your own research. Never just believe one thing. Go and always do your own research and look it up for yourselves. That's the main thing. But hey, you know how I like to do it. Let's jump right into it. The first thing we're going to go over today is the updates from the David's Tesla, the body that was found in the singer David's Tesla. So the body was identified to be a young woman. So we're going to get details and we're going to hear about the connection between that woman and David. Or potential suspected connections between them and see what all that's about. But let's get into it. We got a couple of videos to watch with that. But yeah, like I said, the first thing we're going to go over to is the body that was identified in David's Tesla. So let's get over into that and break all this stuff down.
We have an update right now on a disturbing story out of California, where Los Angeles police have identified badly decomposed human remains found inside of an impounded Tesla last week. Investigators say the car is registered to singer and songwriter David, who rose to fame with hits on TikTok. He was on tour when that body was found. A spokesperson says that he is fully cooperating with authorities. NBC News correspondent Liz Kreutz joins us now from Los Angeles with more details. Liz, where do things stand right now?
Yeah, Morgan, so a really sad update here. It's been over a week that investigators have now been trying to identify the body that was found inside this impounded Tesla here in Los Angeles. And authorities have now identified that person, and they say that it's a teenager who was inside that car. And they've identified this person as 15-year-old Celeste Rivas of Riverside County. And authorities have actually confirmed that this is a young woman whose family reported her missing last year. So she's been missing for over a year. She was 14 when she went missing. The medical examiner's office says that this young woman was wearing a tube top, black leggings, a yellow metal chain bracelet, and stud earrings. She was described as having wavy black hair and weighing around 71 pounds. A cause of death right now is still pending, but this was an incident that began last Monday on September 8th is when police were called to a tow company here in Los Angeles because of a foul odor that was coming from a Tesla. The car was impounded after a person had reported that it was an abandoned car. They say that, according to law enforcement sources, that her body was not intact. And that it appeared that she may have been dead inside that car for an extended period of time. We are out to law enforcement trying to get more details on this, on what they know as this investigation continues. And Morgan, a spokesperson for the artist David, said that he is fully cooperating, as you said, with authorities. He does have a scheduled performance on his tour here in Los Angeles this coming Saturday. Morgan.
All right, Liz Kreutz on the ground with that breaking news for us. Liz, thank you.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on.
So that's the initial video. Let's go into the next one and let's get into it. But I see there's still several questions that I have personally. Just they didn't mention anything about him because it was in his car. So Did he think his car was stolen? Where did he have an idea where his car was? So I think it was sitting in that spot for a couple weeks. Now I don't know how many weeks, but a couple weeks. It was sitting in that spot before it was towed. So still a lot of questions, but they say he's cooperating. So let's get into this next video.
I want to get you to an update here. Really bizarre story in Southern California. The body found in singer David's Tesla has been identified as a missing teen girl. Her remains were discovered in the trunk of that Tesla in a tow lot in Hollywood. We want to go out right now to Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez with the very latest in this investigation. Christina, what can you tell us tonight?
Well, we're in Lake Elsinore. That teenager, her name Celeste Rivas, she was 13 years old when she was last seen leaving this home back in April of 2024. Now, her family had no idea that her case could be connected to the Tesla until they get a call from TMZ last week. Now, keep in mind, right now, David, the artist, he is not considered a suspect. He's not considered a person of interest. We're told he is cooperating, but he canceled his tour date in Seattle, the next one. And people here are saying, what's going on? So let's show you.
No.
Few words from those arriving at the Lake Elsinore home where 15-year-old Celeste Rivas disappeared in April of 2024. Where her family has just found out that it is her partially dismembered body that was found in the trunk of a Tesla registered to popular singer-songwriter David Anthony Burke, known by the stage name David. TMZ broke the girl's identification after speaking to her mother.
It was a very heart-wrenching conversation. She was very upset and said that all she knew is that, her daughter had been missing all of this time. She told us that she was aware that there was a boyfriend named David.
And that her daughter had a tattoo with the letters "Shh" on her right index finger.
That the color of the ink of that tattoo was red, which was something that police had not released to the public.
The singer, who has been cooperating with police, had continued his tour after the body was discovered, but he just canceled his next date in Seattle.
But it just seemed odd to us that, gosh, your car, such a grisly discovery in your car, and that you're just out on tour. You would think that, you'd want to find out what happened here, because this is just a very bizarre case.
So especially because one of his videos actually features a body being put in the trunk of a car.
It's just eerie considering what ended up happening in David's car.
I just hope that the truth comes forward.
Celeste's neighbors on the street she grew up at.
Justicia.
Justice is what family and friends are asking for.
Whatever happened could happen to someone else, and it's just scary.
Now, we have reached out to David's people, no response from them. Again, I want to emphasize, last we heard he was cooperating. LAPD is not naming him a suspect at this point or a person of interest. We're waiting to hear more from them. But I can tell you the Seattle concert date was canceled. Next is San Francisco on Friday. We're waiting to hear back from that venue. And he's supposed to be here at the Greek this weekend. We reached out to them. We haven't heard back from them yet. So we'll have to see what happens. Very much a developing story out here in the Lake Elsinore area, which, if you're wondering, is about 70 miles from the Los Angeles area. Okay.
All right, so we got the gist of that video. So now it looks like that it did end up going to search his home. So let's go into there. Let's go right into this video.
New details are coming into our newsroom about the missing girl found dead in singer David's Tesla. We now know police have searched a home in the Hollywood Hills where David had been living.
Eyewitness News reporter Monica DeAnda joins us live from Hollywood with the very latest. Monica.
Colleen, Phillip, good morning. Take a look here behind me. This home is where David was living, although he does not own the home. LAPD investigators served a search warrant here last night, collecting evidence. Right now, however, this is only being called a death investigation and not a homicide, and we're told that is because the LA County Medical Examiner's Office is still working to determine how exactly this teen girl died. We now know the body found inside the front trunk of a Tesla at a Hollywood tow yard belonged to 15-year-old Celeste Rivas. The car where she was found registered to David Anthony Burke, a 20-year-old singer who goes by David. Take a look. This video shows crime scene investigators carrying out a laptop and other items from this home on Doheny Place as possible evidence connected to the missing teen's disappearance and death. Police remaining very tight-lipped about the investigation, but we now know this home is where the singer was staying. One neighbor we spoke to remembers seeing that distinct Tesla for a while. First, parked in front of the house police searched, and then at 2 different spots along the street.
It's a little weird to see a car that I haven't seen here for a long time. Had a big dent on it, had a Texas plate on it. So all a little odd, but at the same time, you know, people could be hanging out with friends for a long time.
The victim, 15-year-old Celeste Rivas, was first reported missing from Lake Elsinore in early 2024. Eyewitness News learned she ran away a few times and returned before her last runaway in April of 2024. The teen had not been heard from since until September 8th, when authorities discovered her body inside of that Tesla.
She just seemed very lively and friendly. I just hope that the truth comes out and she gets justice for what happened to her.
And lots of questions still remain, including how the victim and David knew each other. Now, investigators are still working to piece together exactly what happened, but we are also learning that a new song was leaked online that's by the artist titled Celeste, and that is now circulating online. So that's going on, as well as detectives continuing to figure out how exactly this girl died and what happened. But in terms of the artist, he's in the middle of a tour. We know he was continuing his performances up until yesterday when he canceled his show in Seattle. He does have another one scheduled here in Los Angeles at the Greek Theater for Saturday. No word yet on whether or not that show will be canceled. Live in Hollywood, Monica de Anda, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, so so that is what they're reporting right now on the news. Now, we have to look at, so like they said before, let's go over this. They did U.S. tour canceled in the wake of the homicide investigation. So is it reported as a homicide? So yeah, this is what we looked at before, what the TMZ talked about before, basically saying that the mother was the one. Remember, the mother spoke and said that she had a boyfriend named David. So I don't know. They said that Celeste had a history of running away. And it's the question is, did she run away to be with her boyfriend David? And is this the same David? That is the question. But they also talk about how, so if we go over to here, no, not this one. Let's see. Let's go over to Twitter real quickly. Let's go over to Twitter real quickly. Twitter real quickly. So as we look at Twitter, let me see if so if we look over at Twitter, we can see they're pulling up different things from the past. So you got different videos. People are saying that this is him and Celeste. Different videos of with her.
Which one?
With her with him. So it seems like they did know each other in the past. At least that's what everyone is saying. But right now they are still not looking at him for a homicide. Let's see. Tour just ended in the U.S. His 2 Paris dates have been canceled. David has canceled the remaining U.S. tour. Let's see. Yeah, tell me your thoughts, y'all. Tell me your thoughts. This right now, he is not looked at as a suspect, but it's a lot of things. Remember, so like they said, Celeste's mom told TMZ that she was aware that Celeste was dating someone named David, and she had been missing for over a year when her body was found. Plus, we obtained footage that shows David was born David Brooke, and Celeste together in the past. Furthermore, TMZ learned that David's music label was halting the release of the deluxe album, plus all other promotional activities out of respect for the investigation. David most recently posted on Instagram said that the album was dropping on Friday. Authorities searched Los Angeles home David was believed to be living in before his tour kicked off on Wednesday night. And we're told that they looked for traces of blood and collected hair samples while they were there. So right now they're still investigating. I don't know if they turned it into a homicide investigation right now. But let's see. So yeah, the cause of death of Celeste, it's the 15-year-old girl whose body was found in the Tesla registered to singer David has not yet been determined. Her body was found severely decomposed state in the front trunk of the impound vehicle on September 8th, 2025, which has made establishing a definitive cause difficult for the medical examiner. So remember, they said they can't, just because the body was exposed doesn't mean that whoever killed her, it could have been the unlawful disposal of a corpse. That is what it would be if she died of natural causes. But we got to wait to see. It's a lot of questions. Why did he ever report his Tesla stolen? Why did he not? I would have originally canceled my tour as soon as I would have heard this. Why didn't he? Why did they had? It sounds like they had a prior connection together. So why was she in his car first? So it's a lot of questions and a lot of people saying he's guilty. But at the end of the day, we got to wait until he is charged. And because you are in this country, you are innocent until proven guilty. You are innocent until proven guilty. But let me know your thoughts, everybody. Let me know your thoughts. We just got to wait and see. I'm gonna keep up with this story and then see what all we can learn from it. But it's absolutely crazy. There's a lot of questions, but hopefully the family learns and then see what they find out from searching the home. See if they can find any evidence to support any kind of scenario that we're thinking. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you disagree with anything. And just let me know in the comments, y'all. But we're gonna pivot over. We got to pivot over into the Charlie Kirk stuff. So we got information that's updating from the Charlie Kirk assassination. Specifically we got the university, and then we got some more updates about Tyler and what's been going on with him since he's been captured. So let's get over into that. The first thing we're going to be looking at, it seems, is we'll look at the school first and see what's updates.
Classes are back in session at Utah Valley University. This is a week after conservative activist Charlie Kirk was shot and killed on campus.
Fox's Jeff Paul tells us about the mood on campus there.
The nation right now is so divided, and it's just a really scary time for people.
It's back to school for Utah Valley University students still mourning the loss of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, shot and killed on campus last week. Classes resume Wednesday with students saying the mood at the school remains somber.
It's a little scary. This is somewhere that we go to further our lives, and it could be also the place where it ends our lives.
The return is especially hard for those who witnessed the shooting. The American flag now hangs over the still barricaded courtyard where Kirk was struck down.
Extremely traumatic and something no one should ever be able to say. I've witnessed a school shooting, let alone the assassination of one of your greatest heroes.
The gunman responsible for the attack is now in custody, charged with capital murder, and could face the death penalty. While investigators look into his past, those who knew Kirk say they want to focus on his legacy.
His message was about faith. Ultimately, that was under everything. It wasn't always about politics. Actually, it was never really about that. It was about something deeper.
In Arizona, a memorial outside of Turning Point USA keeps getting bigger. The group says it's seen a boom in interest since Kirk's death, with tens of thousands of requests for new chapters at high schools and colleges nationwide. Books written by Kirk are also trending on bestseller lists, and his podcast has reached the #1 spot on Apple. Kirk's public memorial is set for Sunday at Arizona State Farm Stadium in Glendale. President Trump is expected to deliver remarks. In Phoenix, Jeff Paul, Fox 26 News.
Now, yep, Now, I've said this several times. No matter how you feel, I didn't agree with everything that he said. But no matter what, I've always said this. Someone shouldn't be unalived for their thoughts and feelings. Thoughts, how they feel. I will never promote violence. I will never. Violence is always the last action. Absolutely tragic situation. And it was a horrible video to see. So if you know what I'm talking about, the video, because they had that video everywhere of him. But it was at the end of the day, we got to pray for the family, but we gotta use this and review the world together, y'all. We got to review the world together. But it looks like this next thing we're gonna get into. It looks like that the man who everybody originally thought was the killer, who was saying that he killed him, he has been arrested and charged. That older man. So let's get over into this video.
And I do want to take you out to some of this video that you may have seen on the day of that assassination here, as investigators now say the man who they initially thought was Charlie Kirk's assassin admitted to screaming that he was the gunman to allow the real shooter to get away. Earlier today, the Utah Department of Public Safety explained George Zinn had attended that event, and after the gunshot was fired, he screamed that he had shot Charlie Kirk. Viral videos like this one showing Zinn as he was quickly taken into custody by authorities there. When he was brought to the University Police Department, Zinn allegedly refused to speak with investigators, but was later transported to the hospital for some type of medical emergency. That is where Utah officials say Zinn confessed that he did not shoot Kirk, but that he wanted to hinder the investigation and allow the real shooter time to get away. Zinn also faces charges for possession of child sex abuse material after investigators say they found disturbing images in his phone involving children.
Hold on. First of all, this man threw away his life, but then they're saying that he's a child predator too? Absolutely crazy. Let's keep going.
The Utah Department of Public Safety says there is no evidence that Zinn worked with the shooter in any way, but the investigation, they say, is still ongoing. Again, this is some of the video that came in on the day of that assassination, as this was one of two people that investigators thought could have been the shooter. They were taken into custody, both detained and then released. However, as you can see there, we also know that George Zinn there was taken back into custody, where he does face several charges. We'll keep you updated on all of that, as we always do.
So you mean to tell me this man hated Charlie Kirk so much to where he was willing to get arrested and taken to jail as if he was the assassin to help the real assassin get away? Absolutely mind-blowing. But it looks like he's going to be charged. It looks like he's going to be charged for what he did. Yeah, I have no thoughts about it. It's play stupid games, win stupid prizes at the end of the day. But let's get over into this next video. Let's see what it is. So it looks like that they broken down some text messages that Tyler Robinson sent to his partner. So let's get over into this video where it breaks it down.
With the charges came a breathtaking 10-page account of the evidence gathered in just the past 5 days. Almost all of it provided by Tyler Robinson himself. Much of it in the form of detailed text messages to his roommate, who's also his romantic partner. And I'm going to start reading now. And if you are scrolling on your phone right now, or you're busy making dinner or doing anything else, I'm going to say you might want to stop and read along with me, because if prosecutors are right, it is rare that we have a first-person narrative from someone who has just allegedly played assassin on the night of the killing itself. Okay, ready? I don't want to pour that drink I always suggest to. Here's Robinson. He starts off this way. This is to the roommate. I am still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orem for a while. Little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you. You aren't the one who did it, right? says the roommate. Robinson says, I am. I'm sorry. Roommate says, I thought they caught the person. Robinson says, no, they grabbed some crazy old dude and then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. Roommate asks one question, why? Tyler says, why did I do it? Roommate says, yeah. Robinson says, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. Roommate goes back to the important question here, which is how long have you been planning this? Robinson, a bit over a week. I believe I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it.
He's giving out a lot of information.
I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. He says IDEK, which is I don't even know. I don't even know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about prints. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find prints. How the F will I explain losing it to my old man? The only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel.
Oh, he just keeps texting.
Remember how I was engraving bullets? The effing messages are mostly a big meme. If I see, quote, notices bulge, UWU on Fox News, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm going to have to leave it. That really effing sucks. Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine. I don't know. I think that was a $2,000 scope. And then Robinson says, delete this exchange. Robinson goes on to say, my dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo of the rifle, and it's very unique. He's calling me right now, not answering. My. Robinson carries on. Since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. Robinson again. I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is a deputy for the sheriff. Robinson, you're all I worry about, love. Now the roommate answers for the first time in a while and says, I'm much more worried about you. Robinson says, don't talk to the media, please. Don't take any interviews or make any comments. If police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent. That last little bit's important because that's going to end up, as you'll see, as a charge.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now.
Absolutely crazy. Now, some people are saying that he was given too much detail for that to be real. I don't know. I mean, that was his partner. And some men like to pillow talk. So, I mean, tell your lady everything, or your partner everything. But absolutely crazy. And tell me your thoughts. Do you think those are real text messages? But that's what they're releasing to say that this is Tyler Robinson's text messages to his roommate, who is also his partner. Let's get over into this last video and see what this is talking about.
Here in the U.S., a Utah sheriff is revealing the moments leading up to the surrender of the man accused of assassinating Charlie Kirk.
We're also learning what Tyler Robinson requested during his negotiation with law enforcement.
Garrett Tenney joins us from Utah Valley University's campus. Garrett, good morning.
Hey, good morning, y'all. We are getting more insights into the mind of Charlie Kirk's alleged killer, who in the span of about 30 hours went from brutally assassinating Charlie and thinking he'd get away with it to fearing that he was going to be shot by police and wanting to take his own life. Last Thursday, after the suspect's parents called him and confronted him about killing Charlie Kirk, he was driving, the sheriff says he was driving to a remote area of southern Utah to end his life. His parents were able to convince him not to do that and said they would help him surrender peacefully. The suspect had some conditions for turning himself in, though, and a family friend who's a former sheriff's deputy helped to negotiate those terms, which the sheriff is now sharing.
He knew it was inevitable that he would be caught. He was fearful of a SWAT team hit on his house, or he was fearful of being shot by law enforcement. So part of the negotiation and getting him to bring himself in was that we would treat it as delicate and as soft as possible to make him feel comfortable to where he would show up at my office, and that's exactly what happened.
What did he ask for? Can I ask?
He basically for a peaceful, gentle, comfortable transition for him to come out.
Another condition the suspect had was that plainclothes detectives would be the ones to escort him inside the sheriff's office rather than a SWAT team. So an hour later, that is what happened after his parents and that family friend drove him over. The sheriff described the suspect's demeanor as quiet and somber when he arrived, and during the 2.5 hours that he was there until law enforcement came and picked him up and brought him up to Utah County. As for his parents, the sheriff said they've been advised to lay low for a long time for their own safety, just because of the amount of threats that have been coming into the area for anyone with the same last name. Back to you.
Wow. 1 week later, we're still getting the deep.
First of all, that's unhinged already. That yes, the son did a horrible thing. Tyler Robinson did a horrible thing, but going after the parents for no reason, just because they share the same last name as him, that is unhinged. Unhinged is the word. But let's keep going into this video.
Details. Garrett, thanks so much.
Yeah, our Vice President, J.D. Vance, was on with Jesse last night, and he really went into depth about, we know that he was very close with Charlie Kirk, and he owes Charlie Kirk his position as vice president, and said Charlie really rallied that youth vote and the college votes and the young 20s that supported Donald Trump and J.D. Vance to make them win the election in November. We heard that on Charlie's podcast when he did the Charlie Kirk show. But then last night he went into detail about how he found out and how he had to tell the president in the Oval Office. Listen.
I was the person who walked into the Oval Office and said, Mr. President, I'm sorry, but Charlie passed. And that was a very, very tough moment. Because Susie Wiles, the White House chief of staff, was in tears, and she doesn't show emotion. She is even keel the whole way, and she was in tears, and I just gave Susie a hug, and I think all of us kind of lost it, and it felt like, we were all mourning our friend before any of the politics or the thought about, what a titan he was and how influential he was to the movement. How do we possibly replace him? We were all just sad because our friend had died, and we supported each other in that moment, as you do with your friends. But man, it was a bad, bad day. The president is very stoic, but he was clearly upset. He just kind of went quiet and let it absorb a little bit, and then just shook his head and said, man, he was a good guy, and we really loved him. And that's exactly right.
I think we saw a different side of J.D. Vance yesterday. You could tell the close personal relationship that he had with Charlie. He was quite emotional in the middle of the interview. They even had to bleep him one time because he was talking about this call for unity. And he's like, these guys aren't knocking it off. They're not cooling off the rhetoric. And he said, you killed my friend, and you want me to unify with that. It was an interesting interview.
Yeah, Jesse did a great job.
He did.
A really good job. And I also thought it was almost therapy. I felt I was watching a therapy session.
Yeah.
Therapeutic, yeah.
And, I'll let you go ahead.
Well, he just reminded us you have to keep debating. Charlie Kirk would have wanted us to continue the conversations and continue to debate, and not burn down cities, but debate, talk about both sides.
Right. The other thing I would add, too, is that he did say that he got calls from Democrats.
Yeah.
So to calm down, we understand what the impact he made. We think he was a good guy. I mean, when you heard the story with Gavin Newsom, Gavin Newsom said, I'm doing this podcast. I'd like you to be on. On his own dime, he flies to Gavin Newsom. They do it. 3 hours, whatever it took. And he says that he personally kept in touch with me and my staff since. Now, why would he do that? It's not to get publicity. It's to get more insight, build bonds, understand the other side, sees that this guy could be president. So I think that would be one thing. If I was in Gavin Newsom's camp, I'd say, talk about that.
Right.
This is an opportunity to be a unifier instead of saying punch him in the mouth.
I mean, frankly, from a personal standpoint, his son wanted to meet Charlie Kirk. His son listened to Charlie Kirk. You would think that would be a moment where the politics really don't matter at that point, where you just push that unity just based on, you may be liberal, but your kids may be conservative. They may be independent thinking. Yeah, I mean.
I think liberals are scared to do that, to talk about the bond they might have with Republicans, because we saw Gretchen Whitmer go to the Oval Office, and this is what she did, remember?
It's true.
Because they're worried about the pushback and maybe losing an election. Well,
I'm Steve Ducey. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here.
Well, those are the updates that we got so far with the whole Charlie Kirk assassination and Tyler Robinson. Let me know your thoughts on anything. At the end of the day, I still say that I don't believe anyone should be targeted for their political views. But hey, that is the updates. Let me know if you have anything that you would like to talk about or you disagree with anything I said. Now we're going to get over into, we're going to pivot into, we're going to get over into the Trey Reed. So we got to get over into Trey Reed updates and what all's been happening with that. If you remember, we talked about it before. It is the black student who was at Delta State University who was found hanging in a tree. So they finally done some initial autopsy and everything. That's the most recent stuff, is the autopsy. But let's get over into some of the updates from the last video I created. Let's get into it.
Tonight, heartbreak and unanswered questions surround the death of 21-year-old DeMartravian Trey Reed, a first-year student at Delta State University. Reed was found hanging from a tree on campus early Monday morning. He was found near the pickleball courts. While officials say no foul play is suspected, Reed's family and community leaders are demanding a full and transparent investigation. 12 News' Jalen Thornton is in studio with more. Jalen?
At a press conference in Grenada, Reed's family stood alongside their legal team calling for accountability from Delta State University and the Bolivar County Coroner's Office. They say they learned of Reed's death through media reports and have yet to receive direct communication from university leadership. The family is now pursuing an independent autopsy and investigation.
A simple phone call from the president of the university with some personalization that this young man that we entrusted to Delta State University, that you care.
Congressman Benny Thompson has joined the call for answers, urging the Department of Justice and the FBI to launch a federal investigation. In a statement, Thompson said, "We must leave no stone unturned in the search for answers. While the details of this case are still emerging, we cannot ignore Mississippi's painful history of lynching and racial violence against African Americans." He emphasized that federal resources are essential to ensure a thorough and impartial inquiry. Delta State University President Dr. Daniel Ennis addressed the campus community today, expressing sorrow and reaffirming the university's cooperation with investigators. He emphasized the school's commitment to safety and support while asking for patience as the investigation continues.
We know that as a university, we're given a trust. People come here to learn, they come here to be safe, and they come here to thrive. And one of our students is gone, and we will never forget that. We continue to meet with and be in contact with Trey's family. We give them our love and support, and we know that we can never fully heal this wound. None of us will fully heal, but we have to go on.
Investigation unfolds. The Reed family says they will not rest until they receive clear, verified answers. They're calling for transparency, accountability, and justice for a young man whose life was just beginning. Delta State University will hold a press conference tomorrow morning on the investigation.
Okay, let's get over into that press conference. We're not going to watch the whole thing. We'll mostly get over into what the detective had to say, or the captain.
Jackson's breaking news leader. 16 WAPT begins with breaking news.
Let's go.
We recognize that this is not only about facts. It's about emotions and it's about feelings. And the way this loss and how it was discovered affects people's lives. And I'll further say that I admit that I am not adequate to speak
to the imagery that this incident raises. I acknowledge my weakness in that regard. The second point I'd like to make before I turn it over to law enforcement is that the university and I personally have been in regular, frequent contact with next of kin. And I'll say, for those of you who are not used to how universities work, I'll take a moment to explain. When a student comes to this university, or almost any university in America, they fill out a contact form. This applies to Trey Reed and applies to every other student at Delta State. The student chooses who to indicate is their personal contact. The student tells us their next of kin. And from the moment we discovered this, and from the moment law enforcement was engaged, 7:30 in the morning on Monday, this university has been in regular, frequent contact with the next of kin. Now we'll go ahead and acknowledge that the student always chooses their next of kin. Trey Reed gave us 2 names and the contact information for the people he wanted to be contacted in the event of emergency. And we have maintained contact with those 2 people. And I know this may seem like some kind of legalistic distinction, but this is how we have to operate. This is a choice made by the student, and a choice made by the student has to be respected even when the student's no longer with us. And I also acknowledge that there is a distinction between next of kin and family. And I acknowledge that both next of kin and family are grieving. But from the point of view of doing this correctly and right, and respecting the students' wishes, the university has been and will continue to be in direct contact with Trey's chosen names. And those individuals, they can choose to do what they will with the information and the communication we give them. So I ask everyone to please be respectful in the sense that this was a choice the student made, and the university is respecting his choice. He told us who he wanted us to talk to in the event of an emergency, and that's what we continue to do. And I can go ahead and say that I recognize that there is family, and some family are not the names that Trey gave us. I'm so...
Yeah, that's 100% understandable that they can only talk to the people who he listed as emergency contact. And I don't know, it sounds like that what they've said is that they've been giving constant updates to the family or to the person who they're his emergency contacts. So if they have been, and that is true, then hey, then yes, I see no problem with that. Let's fast forward some so we can get over into where the detective starts to talk. If you want to go through and watch the whole video, please go through, and I suggest that you go through and watch it. You can easily find it by just searching up the most recent information about it of Trey Reed. So let's get over into the captain starting to talk. I believe captain.
Delta State University Police continues to mourn the tragic loss of Trey Reed. Our hearts remain with his family, friends, and all who are affected during this deeply painful time. Following the discovery of the deceased on campus on Monday morning, and the release of Bolivar County Coroner's official statement, his body has been transported to the Mississippi State Medical Examiner's office. The Chief Medical Examiner began conducting a full autopsy this morning. Preliminary results are expected to be available within the next 24 to 48 hours.
Yep, and we have those. They've released those, so we'll talk about those shortly.
This joint investigation remains active, and the Delta State University Police is in full cooperation with all agencies involved. This is an isolated incident. Due to the support of the state and local law enforcement and the increased law enforcement presence here at Delta State, there are currently no active threats to the campus, and the university remains a safe environment for students, faculty, and staff. Delta State Police, in conjunction with the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, Bolivar County Sheriff's Office, and Cleveland Police Department plans to provide another update once preliminary findings are released and the university officials have met privately with the
fast forward song
tragedy. Support services remain available. At this time, are there any questions?
Chief, Martin Staunton, Fox 13 News in Memphis. First question that comes out is, how was the statement foul play has been ruled out so soon when you just said a preliminary coroner's report hasn't even been released?
Thank you for your question. Again, the statement was initially, at this point, we didn't believe or have evidence of foul play.
Chief Ross Adams, 16 WAPT at Jackson. You talk about, again, the initial report about no foul play. Did you personally put your eyes on the student's body, and how do you make a determination by making a physical observation without having any knowledge about what happened to that person's body?
Well, with the combined effort of Delta State Police, Cleveland PD, Bolivar County Sheriff's Office, yes, did we lay eyes on the student? I did. I was there. I'm one of the first on the scene. And then again, it's an ongoing investigation.
Okay, but when you're asking my question and you're including all these different agencies, I'm asking about you.
Officer from my department on the scene.
Yesterday, Trey's grandfather said that the first call he received, the officer told him that Trey was found in his room, but then the next call he received, and I'm quoting him, they said he hung himself. Can you explain that discrepancy?
Yeah, I don't have any knowledge of any calls that the grandfather received. I know I did speak to the grandfather for the next of kin, and outside of that, I can't answer what calls he received and who he received them from.
Chief, do any videos exist? There have been reports of alleged videos?
There are videos, and they're in the hands of the investigative team. Right now, Cleveland PD is leading the investigation. This is our investigation, but they are leading in the investigation.
So there was surveillance video that captured what happened to Trey on campus at the time of his death?
I can't speak at that at this moment. Again, there is video, but it's still, the investigation is ongoing.
So there is video, but he can't speak to what's on the video. Okay. Well, we get the gist of what this is. This was the preliminary press conference before they did the autopsy, but they finally did do the autopsy. Most recent autopsy. Am I saying that right? Autopsy. Most medical examination. See, I'm not trying to, but they did the most recent medical examination. And so let's go over into the article that basically specifies the medical examination. Let's go into, let's go into this video first.
News at 9 starts now with breaking news.
We get mixed information. We're hearing everything on the media. So we just want the truth. That's all we're looking for. Because he was a young man, I really loved it.
The family of a Delta State University student found hanging from a tree on campus spoke out late this afternoon. Trey Reed's family held a news conference at a Mississippi church today alongside with their attorneys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Darcy Thomas.
And I'm Daryl Green. Fox 13's Sierra Jordan was there. She explains why they say that they have serious questions about this death.
Trevian's family told me this was his first year at Delta State University, and he was excited to start a new chapter. But now his family says they're getting conflicting information from local authorities, and they want answers about the final moments of his life.
And I don't believe Trey would do this to his family, hanging himself. I don't believe that. Excuse me. He wasn't that type of grandson.
Questions more than answers for the family of DeMartravion Trey Reed after the college freshman was found dead hanging from a tree at the center of campus at Delta State University Monday morning. His family told Fox 13 he dreamed of becoming a truck driver and was excited about the future. But now they're getting different stories from law enforcement about how he died.
The first officer said they found him in his room.
Okay, so this is what
suicide.
Talking during the press conference.
After then, we got a phone call and saying that he had hung himself. And I can't understand it.
Late Monday night, the Bolivar County Coroner's Office released a statement saying Reed had no signs of trauma or injuries, and there's no evidence he was physically attacked. The coroner's office says his body is being sent to the Mississippi State Crime Lab for an autopsy. But during a press conference held by Reed's family Tuesday, their attorney says they will order an independent autopsy.
Trey's mom was able to view his body from the neck up. They were not allowed to view the body past the neck. And we won't point the finger that someone's trying to control the narrative.
I mean, I have never been to viewing a body in a medical examiner before. But I've seen, I can't base my stuff off, but all I can base my stuff off is what I've seen in different videos and stuff like that, to where because they've already cut open the chest, so they don't show anything below it, so you don't get too traumatized. But that could have been the reason, I think that's the reason, but some people might believe that they are hiding something because of that. But let's keep
here, because technology and cameras will answer all the questions.
Reed's mother was in attendance and was too devastated and heartbroken to speak about her beloved son. Jones says just days before his death, Reed came home for Grenada Day and was full of joy and life.
He was here with his family and he was joyful and loving as ever. And that's what he's been remembered for being a joyful, loving young man. And when he went back to Delta State University, he was this fun-loving person. And our question is, what happened?
There was another news conference scheduled by the university tomorrow morning. Coming up tonight at Fox 13 News at 10, hear more about the circumstances in this case. Here in Grenada, Mississippi, Sierra Jordan, Fox 13 News.
All right, so as we can hear, they still have a lot of questions about it. But this was before, so they still said that they want to do a release of they want to do an independent autopsy, and that is their right. They can decide to whatever they want to do. But they did most recently release the results of the autopsy that was held by the medical examiner office. So let's get over into that and see what this is about. So if you see, this was the most recent stuff that was, this was the statement released by the Cleveland Police Department for immediate. So as you see, for immediate release, September 18th. So yesterday, 2025. So as it says, on Monday, September 15th at approximately 7:32, officers with the Cleveland Police Department responded to a call of a deceased individual on the Delta State campus. The body was located, and it was of 21-year-old Trey Reed. The coroner responded to the scene to assist in removing the body and conducted a preliminary examination, which indicated no foul play. I'm assuming no foul play is like they didn't see any wounds or anything on the body that indicated it. But you got to go through a more detailed examination, toxicology report, all that good stuff. On September 17th, so 2 days ago, the Mississippi State Medical Examiner Office conducted an autopsy. Findings were consistent with the initial investigation, determined the cause of death to be hanging and the matter of the death to be suicide. Final toxicology results are pending and may take 2 to 4 weeks to complete. So I'm not sure how long they usually take. I'm not sure if that's consistent with how much time you can expect for these. Let me know if you got any thoughts about that. As part of the investigation, all files and investigation material have been turned over to the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office for review. and we have been in contact with them the entire time in the investigation. Our thoughts and prayers remain for the Reed family and friends during this very difficult time. My condolences go out to, I condemn the rumors circulating regarding his death, said the Mississippi Department of Public Safety Commissioner Sean Tyndall. This remains an active investigation, and no further details will be released at this time. If you or someone else is struggling, please go seek help though. So that is what they're releasing right now. The most recent stuff is saying that there's still it supports the autopsy supports what they initially the preliminary examination told us, that there was no scenes of foul play, but they are still going to go through with a independent autopsy, which is their right. But it seems like, so just some news about this. It seems like Colin Kaepernick is offering to fund the second autopsy for the Delta State University student that was found hanging, or Trey Reed. So that is the most recent stuff from information from the Trey Reed investigation. Tell me your thoughts, y'all. Do you think that they're hiding something? Do you think that the independent autopsy will give us more information and tell us something that the medical examiner's office isn't telling us? Or if you think it's just a tragic situation and he ended up taking his own life. No matter what, I need to always say that if you are dealing with something, please go seek help. Please go seek help and don't try to hold it in on your own. But no matter what the situation is, we need to pray for the family, for this horrible situation. And hopefully they get all the answers that they need. Hopefully they are able to accept the answers after they do the second independent autopsy. But that is the updates from the Trey Reed investigation. We gotta pivot. We gotta pivot over into, on the same day that this happened, there was a second man who was found hanging from a tree. So we got a few videos to watch of that. So we got to get into it. But this man, he wasn't a black student. He was a white man, I believe white homeless man. So let's get over into this video and see what this is all about.
We have new details about the body found hanging from a tree in a wooded area in Vicksburg on Monday. Now, according to the Warren County Coroner Corey Zakutis, a white male and resident of Brandon, Mississippi, was identified on Monday afternoon in the 4100 block of Washington Street near Ameristar Casino. His body is being sent to the state crime lab for an autopsy. This is the second reported hanging in Mississippi in less than 24 hours.
Absolutely crazy. So that was just the initial first video, but let's get over into this next one. Gives us a little bit more details about it.
Amidst this tragedy, a life was lost due to another hanging incident not too far from Cleveland. 12 News' Delisha Banks joins us with that story. Delisha?
Jalen, 108 miles south of Cleveland, Mississippi, leads you to the city of Vicksburg, where a second person was found hanging from a tree on Monday.
The Vicksburg Police Department responded to a wooded area near Ameristar Casino in the 4100 block of Washington Street a little after 1 p.m. Officials say they discovered a white male who was later identified as 35-year-old Corey Zakutis from Brandon. He was believed to be homeless, and one of his peers found him hanging from a tree.
He was homeless, but that particular area over there has become somewhat of a haven for homeless people. We also understand that the reason he was in Vicksburg, he's actually from Brandon, but the reason he was in Vicksburg is because he had recently participated in the River Rescue Mission, a part of their dependency program. Now, other than that, that's all we know. Again, our hearts and sympathy go out to the family. But we did make that death notification, and they are aware of it. They were aware that he was homeless. And it's just something that, another one of those things that we have to deal with, not only in the city of Vicksburg, but in the state of Mississippi.
Investigators detect no foul play with the death of Zucatis. His body was sent to the state crime lab for further examination. 1st District Illinois Congressman Jonathan L. Jackson, son of civil rights activist Jesse Jackson, spoke out Tuesday on behalf of what he calls lynching incidents in Mississippi. During his speech at the House of Representatives, he demanded a federal investigation be conducted by the DOJ to ensure justice and transparency. Congressman Jackson says, quote, "The echoes of these losses reach deep into our nation's history, a painful reminder that the shadows of racial violence and exclusion have not yet left us," end quote.
This matter is still under investigation. Be sure to stay with 12 News as more details become available.
Let's go into it and see if we can get to let's see this one. So let's get over into this article. Gives us a little bit more information about this so we can get full details of it. So let me zoom in some so everybody can see. Let's see. So you got stuff there. Zoom out some. So a Brandon man was found dead Monday afternoon in a wooded area off of 4100 block of Washington Street in Vicksburg. Vicksburg Police Captain Curtis judge confirmed that it is not related to the incident at Delta State in which a student was found hanged. The man found in Vicksburg was identified as 35-year-old Corey Zucatis. I'm not good with names, of Brandon. Judge said that Vicksburg police responded to a wooded area near the casino around 1:30 p.m. Monday for the reports of a male hanging. Upon arrival, a white man identified as Corey was hanging from a tree. Vicksburg police are currently investigating the incident. This afternoon, Vicksburg police released the following statement. Corey's death remains under investigation. The Vicksburg police is aware that it concerns the question surrounding an individual who was found deceased in Vicksburg on Monday, September 15th, 2025. We want to reiterate that the information that has already been released. There's currently no indication that the incident is related to the recent incident at Delta State University, as previously stated. As with the ongoing investigation, details are limited at this time. Once additional information has becomes available, they're released to the public. We expressed our sincerest sympathies to the family Corey during this difficult time. We appreciate the community's cooperation at this investigation as the investigation continues. So that is what they're releasing so far about the second hanging. But that is a crazy coincidence that two different people in Mississippi was found hanging from a tree within a day apart. They found within a day with each other, 24 hours. It's a crazy coincidence. Now we've heard from the most recent top medical examiner for the Trey Reed's case that said that there was no foul play, or based on the evidence from the medical examination that they just released, that there was no evidence of foul play, and that it was they're ruling it as a suicide. Now, what will they do here? We don't know yet. There's a lot of questions for both cases, and we just got to wait until see if they release any more information. Now, this case is not getting as much headway or esteem or visibility as a Trey Reed's case, but this is a case we have to look at all together. Same thing with Trey Reed's case. We got to pray for the family of Corey. I know they're going to be dealing with a difficult time, and they got to seek help if they need it. Hopefully all their questions are answered, and we're going to keep track of this whole case so we can review it together and see what we think. That's the main thing. We just want to review the world together. But tell me your thoughts. What do you think about this case? They said that the police have specifically said that there's no connection between these two cases. But what are your thoughts? Do you think there's a connection between them? I'm not sure. It is a crazy coincidence that two people were found hanging in a tree within 24 hours. But the world is big enough to where these coincidences could occur. These coincidences could occur. Could be random, but we never know. We never know. And we just got to wait for more information to come out. And we just got to review the world together. Like always, let me know if you disagree with anything I said and tell me your thoughts. Tell me your thoughts. We need to have a good discussion about this. Remember, y'all, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. We're going to be talking about a lot of crazy things, but that is the main things from the most of the updates that we've talked about. This is absolutely crazy, and let me know your thoughts are. Now we gotta look at another case that I wasn't expecting to pop up on my algorithm, but we gotta review it all together. A 95-year-old woman is being charged with the murder of her 89-year-old roommate. Yes, I said it. A 95-year-old woman is being charged with the murder of her roommate. So we got two videos to watch at this. So let's get into it and break all this down, because this is a wild story.
Right now, it's an unthinkable crime in Coney Island. A 95-year-old woman now being charged with murder for the fatal beating of her elderly roommate.
So disturbing. Fox 5's Sharon Crowley is live in Coney Island with more on the investigation. Sharon?
Yeah, we're getting some new information from the criminal complaint about exactly how this crime took place. We are live right now in Coney Island. We're outside the Seagate Rehabilitation and Nursing Center in Coney Island. And as you said, police have charged a 95-year-old woman with murdering her 89-year-old roommate. Both of them were in this facility.
Quick question. You know I'm not going to stop it too much, but at 95 years old, why are you trying to kill somebody? Come on, let's be honest about it. At 95 years old, you're going to risk going to jail. Now, absolutely crazy. Let's keep going in and see what happened.
When it happened. Now, this happened Sunday on a third-floor room of this residential facility. Now, according to the criminal complaint that was filed by the Brooklyn DA, a nurse telling police that she checked on the 89-year-old victim, Nina Kravtsov, and she said that she was asleep. And then an hour later, the nurse returned to the room only to find her covered in blood, and her roommate, the defendant, 95-year-old Galina Smirnova, washing blood off of her clothing in the bathroom. Now, the criminal complaint reads in part that the victim, Nina Kravtsov, was lying in her bed, non-responsive, covered in blood with a gash mark about her face. And further, the witness saying that the defendant was in the bathroom that is inside the patient room and observed that the defendant's hospital gown was bloody and the defendant had blood on her legs, and the defendant was also washing her hands in the bathroom sink. I spoke with families who have relatives in this care facility a short time ago. You can imagine they were shocked.
I was terrified. I didn't know what to think, actually. And it's like the first thing I did was call to make sure my mom was okay and that nobody else got hurt. And then I came to visit her today.
I heard about accident. That's it. That somebody killed somebody.
What did you think?
It's terrible. Terrible.
And I came to see my wife at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 2:30. She explained to me like what happened. I said to she, yeah, I see everything in the news.
And court documents showing that investigators may be looking at the pedals of the wheelchair as a possible murder weapon. They were covered in blood, according to the criminal complaint. And one of those pedals was seen. It was thrown out the third floor window and later found and confiscated by police. So the defendant in this case has been moved to Bellevue and will be back in court later this month. For now, I'm Sharon Crowley in Coney.
95 years old, and she beat her roommate with the wheel of a wheelchair, and then she threw it out the window. Wow. What? Oh my God. What was she mad about? That's what drove her to want to kill her roommate at 95 years old. Horrible tragedy. First thing first, we got to say horrible tragedy. And if she really did do it, because you are innocent until you're proven guilty in a court of law, she needs to be punished for her crimes in jail. I'm not sure how that's going to work with a 95-year-old woman, but hey, she's got to face the consequences. But let's get over into this next video. Just get it from a different news article and see. Wow, that's what she. Oh wow, first time seeing what this is what she looks like. Let's get into it and see if that's the 95-year-old or the
95-year-old woman is being held tonight without bail. She's accused of murdering her 89-year-old roommate at a nursing home in Brooklyn. And tonight, a lawyer for the victim's family is talking to Eyewitness News reporter Sonia Rincon about the tragedy.
The way she died is like in a Stephen King horror movie.
The violent death in a Coney Island nursing home of an 89-year-old Holocaust survivor and great-grandmother, allegedly at the hands of her 95-year-old roommate, has left her family broken.
This didn't have to happen. This should never have happened.
95-year-old Galina Smirnova was arraigned on a murder charge today in Brooklyn Criminal Court. According to prosecutors, she was discovered by a staff member at Seagate Nursing Home washing blood off herself and around the room she had shared with Nina Kravtsov for only 2 days. Nina Kravtsov was dead, according to the medical examiner, of blunt force trauma.
She was asleep at sometime around 9 o'clock, and by 10 o'clock, she was beaten to a pulp.
The alleged murder weapon, a leg rest from Smirnova's wheelchair found discarded outside the building. Kravtsov's family's attorney Randy Zellin is normally a defense lawyer and tells us dementia plays a legal role here in 2 ways. First, in a likely civil suit against Seagate, which had been Kravtsov's home for several years, arguing that it shouldn't have paired a patient with dementia with a roommate in a brand new environment without some supervision. And second, if the defense makes the case Smirnova didn't know what she was doing.
Dementia can bring on, unprovoked, out of nowhere, a fit of complete rage. So defensively, that's the defense. Now, be interesting to see how that plays in against the backdrop of apparently discarding the piece of the wheelchair, washing her hands in the bathroom. Now suddenly we begin to see, maybe I do know what I was doing.
Attorney Randy Zellin says a team here at his office will be seeking justice for the family, looking to hold Seagate accountable if it could have prevented the tragedy with different protocols or staffing. We've reached out, but there has been no comment from the nursing home. In Midtown, Sonia Rincon, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Absolutely crazy, y'all. That is a crazy situation to where, tell me your thoughts, y'all. Where is she at? Tell me your thoughts. At 95 years old, killing her roommate. What was she tired of her talk? What? But okay, she said that she had dementia, so she could have just flew into a fit of rage. But the 95-year-old was able to beat up the 89-year-old. It's absolutely horrible situation. Absolutely horrible situation that she was able to, in her life, in the 89-year-old woman's life. And at the end of the day, she got to face the crimes, to face the punishment for her crimes. End of the day. Yeah, that's a good question that he made, though, was since they're going to use that as she obviously knew that she did something wrong since she tried to discard of the murder weapon. Tried to clean up, but it's a lot of questions. Why did she do it? Was it just did she suffer from did her dementia start acting up? Absolutely crazy. Do you think that the nursing home should be held responsible? That is another question. They're most likely going to end up suing the nursing home, or at least that's my thoughts. They might end up suing the nursing home because they paired them two together. But do you think that the nursing home should be held responsible? I don't know. That's a wild situation, a very wild situation. Obviously the nursing home would never think that this kind of thing would happen. But it's most likely, but is it their job to plan for situations that could happen? Has she ever shown any violence in the past that made her? Because if she showed violence in the past by acting up like this, then obviously they should have put 2 and 2 together. But so many questions. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know how you feel. How much time do you think she should get? Are they gonna? They might say she is too. She is not capable of going through trial. That could be one of the things where she just doesn't go through trial because of her health. That's a reasonable thing. As a 95-year-old, that's reasonable, at least to me. But at the end of the day, she's going to have to be held responsible for her crimes. Absolutely crazy. I wasn't expecting to see that. Let's pivot. That's absolutely crazy. Let me know your thoughts, y'all. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said, but that is a crazy scenario. And the world gets crazier and crazier every single day, it seems like. Every single day. But at the end of the day, y'all, what do I always say? We got to keep reviewing the world together. Now, we got to get it. We got 2 more things to go over today. It's going to be a little shorter show today, most likely, but we back at it on Saturday. But we're going to pivot over into another wild crime that I wasn't expecting to pop up on my algorithm or my For You page. Was a suspected robber was stabbed by a sword. Seems like that someone was running in the house to try to rob someone. And the suspected robber, ended up getting stabbed by the homeowner. And stabbed with a sword, a samurai sword to be in fact. But let's get over into this. We got a video and then we're going to go into an article about it. I will say this again. I've always been an advocate of being able to protect yourself, especially in your home. So if he felt threatened for his life and he ended up doing it, hey, I don't see any crime committed. But let's get over into this. The robber who was stabbed by a samurai sword trying to rob a house.
The big story on Action News tonight is the face-to-face encounter between residents and an intruder in their home.
That suspect was stabbed with a sword on the unit block of East Blackberry Alley in Norristown this morning. Police say they followed a blood trail that led them to the suspect.
Action News reporter Leland Pender joins us now live from Norristown, and what an interesting story here, Leland.
Scary moments all the way around, Gray and Shari. I talked to the lead detectives on this case today. They say thankfully all of the victims here are okay after that man brought a samurai sword to a gunfight and won.
What?
It was pretty chaotic scene this morning.
An alarming scene on Cherry Street in Norristown Tuesday morning. Neighbors watched as police took a man into custody who was bleeding profusely after being stabbed with a samurai sword.
When I came out here, he was just laying on the ground. The cops were dragging him.
Police say 35-year-old Marcus Armstrong was actually the perpetrator of a botched robbery and home invasion a few blocks away. Around 8:45, police allege he robbed a man at gunpoint outside a home on Blackberry Alley while a female escaped inside. That's when police say Armstrong barged through the door, encountering the woman's roommate, who was armed with a samurai sword.
The roommate defended himself. He had that samurai sword and took a swipe at the suspect.
Police shared this photo of the weapon, not something they see every day.
This time someone fought back, and the fact that they used a samurai sword. I can't tell you the last time we've even seen one.
After being slashed, police say the suspect fled to a home on Cherry Street, leaving a trail of blood that ultimately helped police piece together their investigation, but initially alarmed neighbors.
I was just worried, trying to get him some help. and it was upsetting.
The investigation revealed this was a random crime of opportunity when the suspect saw the victims exchanging money outside. Police said both reported being suspicious of the man moments before the attack.
Just a good fable to be aware of your surroundings, and if you feel something's off, it probably is.
And police say tonight Armstrong is facing robbery and burglary charges, though he's currently still hospitalized. They also say it turns out that his gun was fake. Live here in Norristown, Leland Pinder for Action News at 10 on PHL 17. Gray and Shari.
Yeah, quite the story, Leland. Thank you for that update tonight.
Wow. Absolutely crazy. Oh, absolutely crazy. Let's get over into this article about it, but it's something you would never expect to see. But let's get over into this article so we can see if there are any more details that provide us with more information. Let's get into it. Zoom in, of course. So a Pennsylvania robbery suspect was hospitalized after being stabbed with a samurai sword during a home invasion on Tuesday. Authorities said in a press release, the suspect, identified as Marcus Armstrong, 35, attempted to rob two people, a man and a woman, outside a Nordstrom home, according to police. Police told ABC Philadelphia station that Armstrong forced his way into the Nordstrom home where he encountered a male victim armed with a samurai sword. The roommate defended himself. He had a samurai sword and took a swipe at the suspect. Referring to the male victim, it was a pretty chaotic scene. Police followed the drug trail, dotted with evidence of the crime scene, where they found Armstrong. Authorities. He was found by the police with a severe cut. He was transferred to the hospital where he has remained in stable condition, according to authorities. Investigators alleged that the incident was random crime of opportunity, claimed that Armstrong targeted the victim at the scene. Okay, so pretty much everything we've seen. Let's get into this. So that's the samurai sword. We've got lots of instances where sometimes their victims, sometimes they fight back. We never advise it, but this time someone fought back, and the fact that they use a samurai sword. Let's see. All alleged robbery attempts victims were unharmed in the incident. Court records show that Armstrong previously pled guilty to several charges in the county, including a burglary in 2011 and a theft from a motor vehicle in 2012. The investigation is ongoing. Let's see, is there any more? Let's see, this one's 13 hours ago. Any more? Day before, police had dispatched 600 initial robbery associated. So he had a semi-automatic 9mm style handgun, but it was later found to be a BB gun. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Somebody's going to rob somebody. I mean, deserves what's coming to him. It's when you're trying to protect yourself, someone fears for their life. Absolutely crazy. He broke into the house. They fled into the bedroom. When he went to break into the bedroom, the individual in the bedroom had a samurai sword. Police said the suspect initially witnessed that one individual was outside handing money to the female. So we had two robbery victims when they ran into the house. He attempted to kick in the door. While none of the victims sustained any physical injuries, investigators underscore that they were shaken up. Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. Police also found one of the victims' wallets and about $200. Samuel said, but right now everything's soaked in blood and this evidence is a crime. Wow. God. Oh, Jesus. The incidents remain an active investigation according to municipal office. Armstrong has not yet been arraigned, but is facing charges of burglary and robbery. We're getting a string of robberies about this time. So that kind of fits the MO we've been dealing with over the past few weeks. There were not many people on the streets when Tuesday morning incidents occurred, but police detectives still urge caution from area witnesses and visitors. Be vigilant, always be aware of your surroundings. If something feels off, it probably is. He's 100% correct. always be aware of your surroundings. You should be able to. It's a tragic situation. They definitely should have not been. Well, see, when you handle money outside, I've been taught that from a young age. When you handle money and stuff, and people can see your money, you never know who is watching. Yes, they should. People should be good enough to not try to do terrible things, but they do. So you got to be aware of your surroundings. You got to move in a particular path so that you don't draw too much attention to yourself. At least that's how I feel. That's how I feel. But at the end of the day, he tried to rob and break somebody with a gun. So it's understandable that somebody would try to defend themselves because they fear for their life. I wonder how much crime they'll give him. Since it wasn't a real gun, they can't put armed robbery with a deadly weapon. So I'm not sure. They give him robbery, burglary, but I'm not sure exactly what all charges they will give him. But let me know your thoughts, everybody. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think, how much time do you think he should get? Or do you disagree with anything I said? Do you think that, for some reason, do you think that he didn't have the right to defend himself? Or if you think he should go to jail for doing it? But I don't know who all would think that. But hey, if you do, it's your right to have your own opinion. We can just have a discussion about it, a civilized discussion about it. But absolutely crazy, y'all. I was not expecting to see something like that pop up. Oh. See, I'm messing up already. Wasn't expecting see something like that pop up on my screen. But let's get into it. The next thing, we're going to pivot over into the last thing for today. We got to get over into the three Pennsylvania officers that were killed. So it seems, I don't know the whole situation, but we got a few videos to watch to break down the situation about what all happened. So let's jump right into that and see what happened. The initial reports, it was 5 people were shot and 5 officers were shot, and 3 of the officers ended up dying. So we got 3 videos to look at, and let's jump over into the first one so we can break down this whole situation and see what it is all about. So let's jump into it.
The shooting in Pennsylvania today has left 3 police officers dead and 2 in critical condition. The suspected shooter is also dead after being shot by police. It happened early this afternoon in the North Codorus Township in a rural part of central Pennsylvania. For the very latest, here's ABC's Melissa Adon.
A massive police response in York County, Pennsylvania, after investigators say 5 police officers were shot in North Codorus Township, a rural neighborhood. Officials say 3 officers died from their injuries.
Count of officers down, please. We have 1 officer down.
Investigators say the officers were following up on a domestic-related investigation from the previous day. Law enforcement officials briefed on the investigation tell ABC News the officers were shot while serving a warrant this afternoon. Police say the shooter was then shot by officers and is now dead. Pennsylvania's governor addressing the tragedy.
This kind of violence isn't okay. We need to do better as a society.
Never okay.
We need to help the people who think that picking up a gun, picking up a weapon is the answer to resolving disputes.
Nearby residents and schools told to shelter in place. Dave Miller, who lives across the street from the shooting, says he heard many gunshots and witnessed the tragedy unfold before him.
When I passed the barn, I heard gunshots within a few minutes, and I saw an officer go down on the road, in the middle of the road. Pretty alarming.
The 2 surviving police officers are being treated at a nearby hospital for their injuries and are in critical but stable condition, according to the Pennsylvania State Police Commissioner.
There are simply no words that I can offer to assuage the grief that this community has experienced and unfortunately will continue to experience.
The FBI and ATF are assisting the Pennsylvania State Police with the investigation. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Absolutely wild, crazy situation. We got to pray for the family of all the people who was injured and lost their life. They was doing their job. It's a tragic situation all around. Let's get over into this next video.
Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, as well as the head of Pennsylvania Police, we believe expected to speak now. Here they are. Let's listen in about the law enforcement shooting in New York.
Commissioner of the Pennsylvania State Police. I'm going to address you this evening concerning a critical incident that has rocked the community here in York County this afternoon. The incident occurred in Caduras Township, York County. I'd like to preemptively say that there are many details which at this point we are not prepared to release, given the ongoing nature of the investigation. That having been said, we would like to advise the community that there is no current active threat. The situation today involved law enforcement officers who were shot. I can confirm that the shooter is dead. I can confirm that there were 5 law enforcement officers who were shot today, 3 fatally, 2 that were transported here to Wellspan in York. They are currently listed in critical but stable condition. The District Attorney of York County, who is no stranger to this community, or in collaborating with the Pennsylvania State Police, Tim Barker, I've spoken to him. The Pennsylvania State Police has been asked to convene a major case team to conduct the lead in this investigation with the assistance and in collaboration and in partnership with the York County District Attorney. I can assure you that all of the resources of the Pennsylvania State Police are being brought to bear. There is still very much an active scene at Caduras Township, York County. Later this evening, the District Attorney will have more information to release. I can tell you that the Pennsylvania State Police have taken over calls for service for the Northern York Regional Police Department, and we will continue to do so to support our partners. I can tell you that I've spoken to the special agent in charge of the FBI out of Philadelphia, our municipal partners and county partners here in York County, and we've received multiple offers of assistance from our fellow state partners to include New Jersey and York. But we have a very large investigative scene. In being here today with our law enforcement family for the second time in 2025, I'd just like to say on a very personal note, our hearts and prayers go out to them, to the families of the deceased and the families of those officers who were wounded. There are simply no words that I can offer to assuage the grief that this community has experienced and unfortunately will continue to experience. The grief will be unbearable, but we will bear it. So we stand here today united for our partners all across the law enforcement spectrum, and we will not rest until we've conducted a full, fair, competent, and thorough investigation into this matter. Lastly, I would simply ask to the community here in York County and beyond, all across Pennsylvania and all across our nation, if you could keep the families that were touched by this tragedy today in your thoughts and prayers. Please give them a solemn thought. And to the women and men who are working diligently right now to push this incident forward and the investigation forward and the aftermath that will have to be dealt with and persevered through, our hearts and prayers are with them.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch.
Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. But let's get over into this last video. We get to get the identity of the gunman, and we can see the actual cops who lost their lives, or the officers who lost their lives. At the end of the day, we got to pray for the family of these officers, like I said before. And as they just said shortly ago, gunman did lose his life. So let's go over into this next video and finish it up.
Tonight, authorities identified the suspect, 24-year-old Matthew James Ruth, as the man who opened fire, killing 3 police officers and critically injuring 2 before being shot dead. Tonight, the officers killed have been named: Sergeant Cody Becker, Detective Mark Baker, and Detective Isaiah Emenheiser.
Each of these men represented the very best of policing.
The district attorney says the ambush lasted 2 minutes. The officers had been searching for the suspect inside the Pennsylvania home of his ex-girlfriend and her family, who had already left the scene for their safety.
Detective Emenheiser discovered that the door was unlocked. Immediately opening the door, the actor repeatedly fired at the officers with multiple rounds from an AR-15 styled rifle. All 4 detectives went down.
The firefight continued outside, where police say Ruth shot a deputy sheriff.
An eyewitness says he saw police searching that barn. All of a sudden, he heard shots fired. You can see there the blood-soaked pavement. Fire officials have just arrived to clean it up.
Authorities say police had been searching for Ruth. According to court documents, Ruth's ex-girlfriend and her mom called police the night before, saying she saw Ruth in the driveway, armed with an AR-15 style rifle slung across his chest and dressed in camouflage, looking into her window with binoculars, adding she suspected him of setting her pickup truck on fire the month before. The horrific.
Wow. Some people are just not all there. That is absolutely crazy. He was like a stalker. Sounds like he had like very stalkish types of tendencies. Said he had camouflage with an AR-15, had binoculars peeking into her window. Absolutely tragic. Absolutely tragic. I am happy that she was able to get away safely and he didn't do anything to her. Sounds like she just said he set the truck on fire.
Attack in a quiet farming community.
It's terrible, and what are you going to do? Never go out. You can't do that.
As the community struggles to make sense of yet another senseless act of gun violence. Aaron McLaughlin, NBC News, York County, Pennsylvania.
We thank you for watching.
Absolutely crazy. But as they said, the killer is Matthew James Ruth, 24. He opened fire and ended up killing 3 officers, injuring 2 of them, and he ended up dying and was shot in the fire, shot in the crossfire. Absolutely tragic. We gotta, like I keep saying, we gotta pray for the officers, but what was going through his mind? Why was he so hung up on this one girl? It's a tragic situation, very tragic situation. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. But it seems like the whole situation is come to a close. The killer ended up dying, but we ended up losing 3 officers who were just trying to do their job and make their community safe. Absolutely tragic. Absolutely tragic. Let me know your thoughts, and let me know if you got anything that you want to mention. Have you ever been the victim of any kind of stalking crime where you were worried for your safety? Absolutely tragic. I do want to know that she said that was her ex-boyfriend. I think that's what she said, but absolutely crazy, y'all. Let me know your thoughts. And remember to hit that like button and subscribe. Remember, this is AC Reviews the World. And we gotta keep reviewing the world together, y'all. We gotta keep reviewing the world together. But that is it for the show today. A little shorter show. We're right back at it tomorrow at 8 a.m. 8 a.m., little 8 a.m., 8:05, 8:10, one of them. But right around 8 a.m., where we got plenty of more stories to go over, because things never stop. Things never stop, and more crimes are happening, and just more interesting information on different science topics that we just want to talk about, and we just want to review the world together. Just things that I think that I would like to know, and things that I want to share with y'all. But remember, y'all, this is AC Reviews the World, and I am your host, AC the Engineer. Let's give it another round of applause. This was episode 43. Thank you for whoever tunes in later. Thank you for whoever tunes in now. I will always love your support. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you have any feedback just to make the channel better. I am always here to listen to your feedback. Even if you say I'm terrible, tell me I'm terrible. I'm just gonna use it to go even farther. But hey, that is it for the show. Like I said before, you already know I gotta end it with the outro. But go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Hey, if you're ever so inclined, you can always send me any stories that you want to my email. It's acreviewstheworld@gmail.com. A dot after the A, a dot after the C. And hey, that's it for today. I'll see y'all tomorrow at 8. Peace.